Today is part 2 of the anxiety series. Here we go.
My happiness is right where I left it. I can remember when the simplest was all I wanted.
Hello everyone and welcome to Freedom Friday, where you learn how to free yourself and live your dreams. I'm Darienne, and today, as I said, is part 2 of the anxiety series. As promised, we are doing EFT for anxiety. Oh, that rhymes. Okay, so last week, both on Facebook and YouTube, I asked you guys to describe your anxiety. In the video last week entitled How to Turn Your Fears into Fuel, go check that out if you have yet to do so. I talked about, I asked you to describe your anxiety, and I talked about anxiety, fears, nervousness, stress. A lot of people just kind of lump that into one thing, and I did the same. And what I discovered when I asked you guys to describe your anxiety so that I could do a tap along for EFT, which if you don't know what that is, I will let you know momentarily. So I asked you guys to describe your anxiety, and what I noticed was some people had a lot of similarities, but there really were a lot of differences in your description of your anxiety. You felt it in different places of your body. You described it differently. It came during different instances. The one and only thing I think that really was the same is the mental chatter. Your mind starts racing, things like that. And so I decided to do this EFT a little bit differently and really tailor it to you and teach you how to tailor EFT to your own personal needs rather than making a really vague tap along. And we'll really just pinpoint what we need to pinpoint. So if you are not familiar with EFT, it stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. Basically, it's a tapping technique much like acupressure, where you tap along certain meridian points. What happens while you're doing this tapping is you're stating statements and affirmations describing any sort of emotional pain, physical pain, anything that's going on. You describe it, verbalize it while you do the tapping. And what that does is it calms the amygdala, the part of the brain that is the fight, flight, or freeze response. And it's that survival instinct. So let's say something happened to you when you were younger, and it stirred up this anxiety. Now, every time that thing happens or something like it, you're triggered to have this anxiety because your brain goes into survival mode. So in a nutshell, that's basically what EFT is. So we have this incredible tool that I discovered back in 2009 when I first got sober and quit drinking and was really discovering and had my spiritual awakening and all of this. I started doing EFT, and it was an easy way for me to clear blocks. It was an easy way for me to get out of my own way without, it was just something that I could do myself without needing professional help. Of course, I got professional help, and I always suggest that. If you really have severe anxiety, I would suggest professional help. I had severe depression, but I was doing this as a complementary treatment for myself. And later on, last year got trained in EFT level 1 and 2, if I can speak. And it was just a real dream of mine to be able to get really trained in it, and I'm still training in it, and I'm still getting the education on EFT so I can really learn the ins and outs of it to really help people, because it's such an easy, incredibly easy and life-changing technique. So there are lots of things that happen during EFT that are to be expected or not to be expected. When you start tapping, you can do things like yawn, cough, laugh hysterically. You can cry. You're definitely going to need to take full responsibility for your own emotions because you are doing this for yourself, meaning that you're going to feel some stuff. Some stuff's going to come up, but the EFT helps you to clear it out. Number one thing that my EFT trainer, master trainer, always taught us was to not stop tapping. So don't get discouraged if you start tapping and maybe nothing happens for a little while, or you start tapping and intense emotion comes. Keep on tapping. So the way we're going to do this is a few rounds of tapping. So I will first describe to you the places that you're going to tap, and then I'm going to have you do this exercise. So the main tapping points are the start of the eyebrow, side of the eye, underneath the eye, right along the bone, underneath the nose, right on the chin, collarbone. So the collarbone would be if you sort of move your fingers along your collarbone right into these knots, and then you go right into the corner of those knots where it's a little bit indented. And you're going to use 2 fingers, and we'll do like a light, gentle tapping. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to slam, the tapping points, just as long as you kind of feel tapping. And then under the arm. So you can take your 4 fingers and do the bra line. You can do the monkey tapping and do both. You can do one side, you can do both sides, doesn't matter. And then the top of the head, crown of the head. And just use the claw. We just want to make sure that we get that tapping point. You're tapping at least 5 to 7 times. Usually I tap way more than that. So now I want you to take a pen and paper. You can pause the video right now, or you can watch this later and do the exercise later on. So you're going to get your pen and paper, and you're going to describe your anxiety. So I want you to, in list form, I want you to take yourself back to a time when you get triggered, your anxiety gets triggered. So for me, it's getting up on stage. Oh my God, I'm about to get on stage, right? So really get into that moment. Again, take full responsibility for your own emotions, and we're going to dive into it. Now, of course, don't do something that's going to cause you an insane amount of anxiety where you turn into like this little like abused puppy. Let's not go that deep. If it's, something that's really going to be that deep for you, that's really not funny, honestly, because if you have that kind of anxiety, you really want to do more than this EFT tapping. But if it's something, you want to just conjure up the feeling without going insane over the top. And I want you to list the feeling that you are experiencing. So a lot of people described, my mind is racing, my hands get clammy. For me, my knees would knock and I would get shaky. I know a lot of people start shaking. Whatever feeling you're having in your body, there was also somebody that said that they couldn't even feel the sensations of their body because they were just probably out of their body. That I would definitely do some grounding, which I did tell, I think, that person. But if you're not feeling the body sensations, are there emotional sensations going on? And I just want you to list them all the way down, okay? So we're first going to do it's sort of like the opener for EFT. And the script goes something like this. Even though I have all this anxiety, I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Now, if love, forgive, and accept myself is too much for you and your internal voice is saying, hell no, that's not true, then you can just say, even though I have all this anxiety, right here, right now, I'm okay. All right? So while you're stating that, you're going to tap the karate chop point. So take your 4 fingers and tap. So let's go ahead. I'm assuming that you've already written down all of your list of your anxiety sensations. You can pause the video and do that now, and then come right back and we'll start a little script. So, tap along with me. Even though I have all this anxiety, I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Even though I have all this anxiety, right here, right now, I'm okay. Even though I have all this anxiety, I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Now stop after the 3rd time, take a deep breath in, and we're going to begin tapping. Start of the eyebrow. Now, you're going to take your list and start to read off the entire list, okay? So, my hands become clammy. My body starts shaking. All this anxiety. My mind is racing. All this anxiety. My knees are knocking. All this anxiety. My hands are clammy. Take a deep breath in. And we'll just keep going until you've tapped your entire list. Maybe you want to tap it twice. Maybe something's going on. We're just going to keep tapping. So tap along at the places that I'm tapping and just go right through your list, okay? All this anxiety. My body is shaking. My face turned beet red. My breath is getting shorter. Make sure you breathe. All this anxiety. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God. All this anxiety. All this anxiety. All this anxiety. Okay, take a deep breath in and out through the mouth. So now, once you feel like you've really tapped and feel a shift on all your aspects, the many aspects of anxiety that you experience, both emotional, physical, I was just kind of going through some examples, but all of that, once you feel really good about it, you can just keep doing rounds of tapping. Once you feel pretty good about it, then we're going to start to release it, and we're going to start to change the script a little bit. So here we go. Begin tapping at the start of the eyebrow. I choose to release all this anxiety. I choose to be free of all this anxiety. I choose to feel calm and deeply in my body. I choose to feel a deep wave of relaxation come over me. I choose peace instead of this. I choose to release all of this anxiety. I choose to allow the anxiety to flow through me and out of me. I choose peace instead of this. I choose peace instead of this. I choose to allow a deep wave of relaxation to come over me. I choose to breathe deeply. I choose to feel calm and centered deep within my body. I choose to release any and all anxiety. I choose to feel peace instead of anxiety. I choose peace. I choose relaxation. Now, I always love to end my EFT with thank you, thank you, thank you. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now, you can tailor that to your own needs. Do as many tapping rounds as you need, and you really only need to do that beginning, even though that's the setup. You only need to do that in the very beginning. So each sort of session of EFT tapping that you do, you only need to do that once. So some sensations that you may be feeling afterwards, I get dry mouth. Drink lots and lots of water. What's happening is you are shifting the chemicals in your brain. You're changing and creating new neural pathways, and it takes up a lot of energy. So drink lots of water. That helps to clear out the energy. You should be drinking lots of water anyway. I'm telling you this, never drinking water because I'm terrible with drinking water. But when I do EFT, I get really thirsty like right now, and I know I have water in this room somewhere, so that I brought up. So I'm gonna have to go drink it. But so some of the things that could happen during the EFT that you may experience, I mean, it could be anything. You could start crying, you could sneeze, you could cough, you could laugh, you could feel absolutely nothing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not working. A lot of us have some blocks that have been created and built on top of, and it takes a little while for the EFT to break it down. And my light just went out. So I hope that that helped you. Please make sure that you let me know in the comments below how it worked for you. Share this video with anyone you know that is suffering with anxiety, that it could possibly help. I love you guys so, so much. Of course, join me in the Rocket Empath Facebook group. I will put the link in the description, and subscribe to the channel and check out the hundreds of videos that I have on the Darienne Awakened channel, helping you learn how to free yourself and love your dreams. Not love your dreams, live your dreams, but you can love them too. And now my baby's crying, so I'm gonna go get her. I hope you like this video. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Mwah!